After the dominance of comic book movies over the last decade, it now seems we are moving into a wave of toys and games adaptations. With the Super Mario Bros. Movie and Barbie both hitting $1 billion at the box office, the benchmark has certainly been set. And so let's talk about the latest entry into this category, Gran Turismo. This is the second film to come from PlayStation Productions after the disappointing Uncharted from the year before.
I liked it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, of course he likes it. Look at him. Motherfucker got 2 heads and 3 trunks.
Believe it or not, I'm old enough to remember playing Gran Turismo on the PS1, and so seeing that there's a real life story out there about a player going from virtual to reality and becoming a real life racer did spark my interest, and the film has done a lot of marketing, really pushing that out there that this is based on a true story.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Now the star of the story is Jan Mardenborough, who's played by Archie Madekwe, and Madekwe plays the character very realistically to how a lot of gamers are, by being an introvert, not being the most charismatic, and the film does address this as well by saying that he's not press ready. They ask him questions like, why do you like Gran Turismo? And he just answers saying, I like cars. And in regards to this film, which is one which goes through the motions as we watch a character go from point A to point B, we're then here for the journey, and to have a character like this be the lead could have been an issue, but fortunately we do have a character to help balance things out, and that is his mentor Jack, who's played by David Harbour. When we're introduced to this character, we learn that he was a former racer, and they do tease his backstory, which they eventually reveal. And as we've seen with many underdog stories in the past, he starts off as a non-believer. And we see that clearly during the training scenes of the Gran Turismo Academy, with the script recycling a lot of the same lines for David Harbour, where he's basically just saying, you're not in your bedroom anymore, this is real.
What is real? How do you define real?
Throughout the film, Jan is mocked for trying to make his dream a reality, and I think a lot of people will feel empathy towards him because a lot of us do have those sort of dreams and want to pursue them, but the doubts come from every direction and people try and push you back onto that normal path. And at one point, Jan says that his fear is proving his doubters right, and one of his doubters is his father, who's played by Jaimin Hinsu. He was great in this role, and that relationship between dad and son was the emotional weight of the film. And when it comes to the family dynamic, they do focus mainly on those two. His brother and his mum are in the film as well, with his mum being played by Jerry Halliwell Horner, or aka Ginger Spice, but she's mainly just there to have a few reactions to the events which happened to Jan, and that's really about it.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
Quite rightly, a lot of people want to see this film to see how the racing scenes turn out, and I thought they were fine. I don't think they were amazing. I think it got better as the film went on. I think with some of the earlier racing scenes, they held your hand a little bit too much. Like they sort of paused here and there to tell you who's in which place, and there's graphics on screen to show that as well. It was quite a neat little inclusion of like PlayStation sound effects, which I think some fans will enjoy. But I wasn't really enthralled by it like I have been with some other racing films of the past.
Well, that sucks.
The director of the film is Neil Blomkamp, whose most notable credit is directing District 9, and I feel for this one he's made a slick looking film with a good use of drone shots for the racing scenes, so we really get that behind the car action, and also when Jan's playing the game, or should I say racing simulator, I enjoyed how the car constructs around him and merges the game with real life, and it also works the other way. Like for example, there's a police chase scene where they're in the car in real life and we see the HUD of the game and different graphics which are implemented into that scene. There is also a romance in the film between Jan and a girl, and I cannot remember her name because she's hardly in the film because this romance is very much glossed over. Because even though the film is around 2 hours long, they still try to cram in so many different things in there where they're having to speedrun through portions of the story, and it ends up being surface level entertainment. Like towards the start of the film, we see Orlando Bloom's character, who is a Nissan marketing guy, meets up with the creator of Gran Turismo, Kaz Yamauchi, and he's sort of in the film quite a bit towards the first like 10-20 minutes, but then he sort of fades out, and I felt like there was some more story they were going to tell there with the whole craftsmanship of the game, but they never really do. What we do see though are plenty of crashes, photo finishes, and plenty of product placement. Now you are going to expect that because motorsport has brands all over the place, like on the cars and on the advertisement hoardings, so it is everywhere you look. But with this film they focus a long time on these logos, like during the montages they slowly pan across them, and with Nissan it's a bit more understandable because they're the ones who sponsored the competition, so they're a bit more ingrained within the story, but some of the other ones I'm like, you know, it is taking the piss now. And there's an item in the film that's bought as a gift for another character, and of course it has to be from this brand, so yeah, it did leave a bit of a bad taste in the mouth. It'd be quite interesting actually to see how many people want to buy a PS5 by the end of the film.
But me, I have to get the first one and people won't think I'm cute.
All right, let's go.
Sweet.
Like with any based on a true story film, the creators have used their artistic license, and so it is definitely worthwhile checking out for yourself what really happened. There are quite a few falsehoods, and also the film makes it out to be that Jan was the pioneer for the Gran Turismo Academy, but instead it was actually someone else called Lucas Ordonez. Unless I'm mistaken, I don't think he gets a mention, so that is a shame. However, Jan Mardenborough does have an inclusion of some sort, which I'll leave for you to find out. All in all, I think this film works in the same way as the Mario movie, in that it's for the fans. I think for fans of Gran Turismo, fans of motorsport, and fans of gaming, I think you'll have a fun time. However, I think for everyone else, it'll come across as a bland and safe underdog story, and I think there are definitely better ones out there which have that universal appeal, like Eddie the Eagle for example, which had that same competitor and mentor relationship as we saw with Hugh Jackman and Taron Egerton. Regardless though, still a very inspiring true story, and if you have seen the film, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. For now though, if you want to know a review, on screen is one which I've made just for you.